Understanding the rules of IGP. It's one of the most commonly asked questions that I get from my clients. And I mean, honestly, you can direct anybody to the rule book. They're right there online. They're not hard to find. But the problem is most do not understand how to interpret that rule book. You have to comb through several pages, paragraphs, even just to figure out where your points lay. So I went ahead and put an intensive list together and broke all that down to put it into one simple little area. So you can see each and in every little exercise broke down. This is where your points are, and these are the deductions that are either mandatory or faulty that can be taken from that exercise. Okay, so some key things to remember is that these videos are in no way, shape, or form opinion-based. So they're only going to cover exactly what is in the rules, just condensing it and putting it on one area for you all. At the beginning of each video, I will put up the board that I created, take a picture of it so you can keep it for your references. And also, when we are covering deductions, there's lots of times, especially in like the tracking and in healing, there's a lot of things called faulty behaviors. And these faulty behaviors are not, they're points that need to be mandatorily taken, but no set points are put behind them. So it is solely the opinion of the judge and how many points they're going to take. So it all depends on them and how much they dislike a certain behavior, or maybe how a dog reacted, or could be stress under the behavior. I mean, so many things can cover it. So when we cover things that are faulty, it's just remember there's no set points. A judge can take minimal points, like half a point, or a judge can take a maximum amount of points for that exercise. So yeah, so there's some things to remember, and I hope you all enjoy. So here we have the BH and how all of the points are laid out. As you can see, healing on leash is 15 points, healing off leash is 15 points, sit out of motion is 10 points, down out of motion with the recall is 10 points, and the long down is 10 points, which equals to a total of 60 points for your entire BH routine. Mind you, you only need 40 points in order to pass and go on to what we call the traffic phase. And at the traffic phase, it is only a pass or fail. The whole point of the traffic phase is to just test whether your dog is social in just normal everyday settings, not formal at all. And every judge will do any one of these a little bit differently, just depends on what they prefer. But at a minimum, you have to encounter a group of people, encounter a bicyclist, encounter a car, encounter a jogger, encounter another dog, and also have your dog tethered while you go out of sight and have a jogger and a car at minimum go by. Another piece to note is that for the BH, if it is your very, very first BH, you must take a written test. The point of this written test is just to show that you have read the rules, you understand what IGP is about and our regulations. Once you've taken it, you will never have to take it again if you ever title another dog. Now, looking at these points, as you can see, everything is graded by category. You have excellent, very good, good, sufficient, and insufficient. So while the judge is watching your routine, they are taking points and putting you into one of these 5 categories. And at the end of the routine, they will calculate their points to put you in an overall category score of excellent, very good, good, sufficient, or insufficient. Now, how does the judge take points? This sport is actually very, very subjective. So a judge can take points as little as half a point up to 3 points or more, depending on that actual exercise. So for the BH, we will go ahead and look at the IGP1 faults in order to determine your faults for the BH.
All right, so let's start with the faults by each exercise. And remember that faults do not have a standard set of points. The points are laid on the opinion of the judge of how you and the dog did in each of those exercises. So let's go ahead and zoom in on these. For heeling, you have foraging, heeling wide, lagging, slow hesitant sits, extra commands, handler help, errors in basic position, inattentiveness, lack of motivation, stress or pressured dog. For the sit out of motion, slow sitting, restless, inattentive, handler help. Down with recall, slow downing, restless, inattentive, slow recall, handler help, and splayed leg position. So any of these faults or a combination of, depending on the severity, can cause you to go from an excellent all the way to an insufficient exercise. All right, next up, we have our mandatory deductions. We'll start with no sit on sit out of motion is -5 points. No down on down out of motion is -5 points. Doesn't come on the recall after 3 commands is 0 points. Dog leaves long down by more than 3 meters after the other dog finished the third exercise is -50 points. Dog goes to handler upon handler picking up, -3 points. And dog leaves long down before the third exercise is 0 points. Now on to disqualifications. So here, even though there is no gunfire in the BH, if at any time the dog gets up, runs away, shows fear, it is a disqualification. If they leave the working field and they cannot be recalled with three commands, if they're out of control and cannot become under control within 3 commands, any unsportsmanlike behavior from the handler, or if at any time your dog does not show impartiality or any signs of aggression towards other dogs or humans. All right, the last exercise to cover its faults is the down under distractions, also known as the long down. The faults are mistakes in basic, restless, stress, handler help, premature standing up, standing or sitting, leaving the designated 3-meter area.